Hey guys, it's Logan here. The go-kart. It's working. Roll intro. Now who am I carrying? I don't have an intro. It's working, guys. It's not totally done. Obviously, I don't have a seat, and I got to mount the batteries more permanently. They're just kind of sitting in there. But it's working. It drives. I'll show you that here in a few minutes. But let me bring you up to speed about why I'm actually a little bit embarrassed that it's working. Yeah, look at that. Even got a light on there. It's got a horn. That horn is super loud. All right, here's why I'm embarrassed. I didn't make these. I worked so hard at making motors, and as you saw in my other videos, I made motors that worked, but the problem was they just weren't powerful enough. And to make them more powerful in such a small space, I had to make them more precisely. And you can tell I've got a whole shelf full of motor stuff up there, and I got a whole stuff of this is the controller that you saw before and experimenting, and this is an absolute mess. Oh, I really got to work on this, but example right there. But in order to make it more precise, I had to be more, I had to have other equipment that I don't have and don't have time to work on this. And I got tired of this not working at all for years and years. So I broke down and I bought some motors from, what do they call it? East Canada, somewhere in the far east of somewhere. So anyway, I got them. They work. They're 800 watt motors, so 1600 watts total, which is just over 2 horsepower if they're running at 48 volts. I don't have 48 volts here hooked up yet. I've got more batteries that I'm going to be making into an array, but what I'm not quite sure about is do I make two sets of this, right? So this is somewhere around like 37 volts fully charged. Do I make 2 sets of 37 so I can go farther, or do I make 48 and then it'll have more power? Because as you'll see, I mean, these are definitely powerful enough. However, if you're going up a hill, maybe not necessarily. The other thing I've got to work on here is this is the throttle, right? This makes it go, but you have to actually pull this, right? You have to pull this down to the side like that. So I've got to transform this into a pedal. So right now I'm just steering with one hand. And then I've got my trip computer. This is a regular bicycle computer, but I think, there you go. 20 miles per hour is what I got up to. Focus. So far, 12.2 miles. Now that's not total. This is the second charge. So that's like 1.5 charges of these batteries got me 12 miles. So about 7-ish miles before it really started slowing down. I can go further. It doesn't just stop dead after 7 miles, but it starts slowing down. And I got my reverse right here. This is my key. Then there's also another switch. This is the high amperage switch. So if I needed a cutoff, rather than having a fuse, I can flip this and it just completely stops all the power going through there. I've got some reflectors. And if you notice, if you followed the other video, I cut off the entire back side. There's like 16 inches that are missing back here. I wanted a better turning radius. And since these controllers are taking place of what's on my workbench, I didn't really need the extra space. Eventually I plan on making this a little better, but all the wiring is done underneath here. So there's screw terminals in the wood where everything has ring terminals that are connected to, but these are really good. These get mildly warm after I've been running for a while, but nothing crazy hot or anything like that. And if you notice here, the keen-eyed among you will notice there's no brakes. So that's a problem, and I'm going to be working on that. I'm experimenting with ways, because the way I built this here, there's not really a way to get the brake screwed in to that area right there. So I'm experimenting with extending this out. I'm going to cut some pieces of aluminum, mount the brakes right there. Look at there, but as of right now, you just kind of got to pay attention and not drive into the intersection unless you know it's clear. But yeah, it works really well. Most of this wire I didn't need. I just happened to have a whole bunch of wire I made for something else. I think it was my Bitcoin mining rig. And that's, as you probably know, if you follow Bitcoin, kind of a bust. So I took that rig apart, and now I just have a bunch of extra wires. Look, there's toads everywhere. All the baby toads must have just hatched. Look at that. Anyway, getting back to it. So the last thing I don't really have in here electronics-wise is this is where the amp and voltmeter is going to sit. That way you can keep track of it. But here, you know what? If I just if I flip this on, look, the light's already on. I forgot to turn that off. Look at that. It's pretty bright. It's not too bad at all. So, actually, may have to look at wiring it through that switch, actually, come to think of it, but at least I can turn it off through there, no problems. And, yeah, you want to see me run it? All right, this is going to be a little difficult because I have to steer and do this at the same time, and then somehow drive. So let's just take a quick drive down the driveway here. Hit some frogs there. Here we go. I'm only going about 8 miles an hour right here. 10. Let's just give a quick flip here. Woo. I will tend to slide off the seat if I go too fast. The other problem here is that, again, no brakes, so getting up here. Woo. There we go. Look at that. And back in the garage. Some frogs were killed in the making of this video. All right, well, guys, that's it. I appreciate it. Obviously, I still got more work to do here. Flip that off. Flip that off. And now, if I tell it to go, now it won't go. So I appreciate you guys watching this, and obviously there's still some more work to do, but I'll keep working on it. Maybe get a seat on there so I don't just slide off. I was trying to run some donuts the other day, and I would go into these wheels before the car started slipping. So it's got some good traction, and I think maybe with 48 volts I could get to slip because it was right on the verge, but yeah, guys, I appreciate it. We'll check you in the next one.